In this study, I stepped away from plants for a moment and looked at a different kind of subject. Actually, I went back to drawing reptiles again, which are creatures that feel like they stepped straight out of a mythical bestiary, yet are very much real. My latest page of illustrations is devoted to what I'm calling my real-life dragons series. These are lizards whose names or appearance link them to dragons of folklore, but whose biology is just as interesting as any legend. For this page, I selected 5 species: the Komodo dragon, the thorny dragon, Boyd's forest dragon, the eastern bearded dragon, and Chinese water dragon. Each of these reptiles has its own unique shape, color, and texture, and each brought a different challenge to my drawing table. It felt fitting to start with the largest living lizard on Earth. The Komodo dragon is a member of the monitor lizard family and can grow over 3 meters long with a muscular build, thick limbs, and a long, powerful tail. They are found on a handful of Indonesian islands where they are apex predators. They have a reputation for being fearsome, partly due to their venomous bite and hunting strategy. Their scales are armored with tiny bones called osteoderms, giving them a rugged, almost medieval armor look, which was not a pleasure to capture in illustration. But unlike a mythical dragon with wings and fire, the Komodo's power is in its patient stalking, sudden burst of speed, and ability to take down prey many times its size. It does not look like it has speed, and when drawing it, I focused on that heavy, grounded stance, the sagging folds of skin around the neck, and the thick, muscular tail. It's not a delicate creature. Every line and shadow needs to carry some weight. And I don't think that if it wasn't the largest living reptile, Komodo dragon would not be that famous, because there are many different lizards that have more fascinating features or colors. For example, this next one I tried to illustrate is the thorny dragon or thorny devil. From the largest lizard I jumped to one of the smallest, but in terms of visual drama, the thorny dragon easily holds its own. This Australian desert lizard is covered head to tail in sharp conical spines, making it look like a living cactus. These spikes aren't just for show, they help with defense, breaking up the lizard's outline to confuse predators. One of its most captivating adaptations is the way its skin channels water. Rain or dew collects between the scales and it's drawn toward the mouth by capillary action, and this is an incredible survival trick in arid environments. Drawing this species was a study in texture. Each tiny spike needed to be placed in a way that felt organic, not mechanical. The trick was to suggest complexity without overworking the drawing into chaos. I wanted it to feel spiky and defensive, but also harmonious with the sandy desert backdrop. I'm not really happy with my results. I am making these quick studies, and sometimes I know I rushed a lot, because when a species has this much detail, it needs more attention and time, and this page ended up kind of messy. I cannot really say that each piece is finished. So after the thorny dragon, I started to illustrate Boyd's forest dragon. This species brought me into the lush rainforests of northeastern Australia. Boyd's forest dragon is an arboreal species that blends into mossy tree trunks with remarkable camouflage. Its muted greens, browns, and patches of lichen-like markings make it disappear in its natural habitat. Unlike many lizards, Boyd's forest dragon doesn't bask to raise its body temperature. Instead, it relies on the ambient warmth of the forest, making it less active and more of a patient sitter. Its head bears a short crest, and the overall form is elegant rather than imposing. Illustrating it meant shifting from the heavier armor of Komodo and the extreme spikes of the thorny dragon to subtle gradients, delicate scalation, and poised, still posture. This was a reminder that not all dragons need to look fierce and some have an understated beauty, and actually I found this one much more fun to draw. Next, I made a very quick study of Eastern bearded dragon. This is probably one of the most familiar dragons to reptile keepers, as bearded dragons are popular in pet trade. The eastern bearded dragon, however, is a wild Australian species, larger and generally darker than its captive bred cousins. Its most famous feature is the expandable beard, a flap of skin under the throat lined with spiny scales, which can darken when the lizard is displaying or feeling threatened. They're adaptable reptiles living in woodlands, shrublands, and even urban areas. Their behaviors, head bobbing, arm waving, are highly expressive. In illustration, I only focused on the head because the interesting part was the beard, and when inflated, it almost looks like a dark ruff or color like an Elizabethan fashion piece with spikes. But all those spikes really needed more time, so maybe in the future I will edit this page and make some adjustments to make these better. To finish the page, I wanted something with a brighter splash of color, and the Chinese water dragon brought that in abundance. I illustrated just the head again to complete the page with heads at the bottom across each other. These species are native to the forests and riverbanks of Southeast Asia, and they're agile climbers and strong swimmers. Its vibrant green body, highlighted with turquoise, makes it stand out from the more earth-tone dragons on my page. Males can also have striking orange throats and pinkish facial markings. After weeks of focusing on plants, moving to reptiles again felt fresh, but it brought its own challenges, like the scales and the importance of anatomy, which is rigid in animals compared to plants. And there are familiar connections, just as I study petal arrangement or leaf morphology in botanical work. Here I paid close attention to muscle structure and the relationship between form and function. And the things I learned about these animals are inspirational in many ways, not just for the visual side. The Komodo's osteoderms, the thorny dragon's spines, and the bearded dragon's throat display each tells a story about survival and adaptation. I'll admit, after doing 5 lizards back to back, my brain started to see scales even when I close my eyes. It's easy for the process to feel repetitive when you're focusing on similar subject matter, but there's always a small detail in each species that shifts the challenge. With the Komodo, it was mass and weight; with the thorny dragon, texture density; with Boyd's forest dragon, camouflage patterns. So if I ever design a dragon for a fantasy setting, it might have the muscular stance of a Komodo, the armor of a thorny devil, the camouflage of a forest dragon, the display of a bearded dragon, and the elegance of a water dragon. So observation, analysis, and curiosity are transferable skills across all subjects, whether I'm drawing a leaf vein or a lizard scale. The act of looking closely is the same, and I'll be continuing this kind of study because the real world is already full of incredible creatures that feel like they came out of a storybook. There is a whole world of real-life fantasy creatures out there, and I plan to keep exploring them one drawing at a time, so see you in the next one.